Hey. Here's a quick one on satisfaction. How much are you juicily in your satisfaction? Because I know for me, it's gone through different levels. And by this I mean enjoying the journey. And everyone's heard, not everyone, that's assuming. It's banded around a fair bit to enjoy the journey, be in the journey, not wanting for the goal or the solution. Because it brings more satisfaction. Because everyone's had an experience of wanting something when they were a kid. You know, oh, I want the bike. You get the bike, you then ride the bike like mad for a short period of time, and then it's no longer the new thing anymore and it's onto something else. And that happens quite a lot, that the thing that we want, we get, we explode with, oh yay, and then there's something else. Then our attention goes to something else because we've got that thing, and then it's on to the next thing. So and sometimes once we get what we're wanting to, we can be pleased about it for all of 30 seconds and then go, oh, that was a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it? Now I've got it. Doesn't really feel like that's what I wanted. And I think you get that quite a lot with money or millionaires or people spending their whole entire life wanting to be the million trillionaire, then getting all the money and going, oh, that's an anticlimax. Hasn't really changed anything. Ooh, don't think I really wanted that. So it's that idea of it being a really thin line. I want. Getting it, yay! And then going, I want. So we're spending the majority of our lives in the trajectory of getting something. Looking to the future for this, for that. Once I have this, I'll be happy. Once I have that, I'll be happy. Once I've done this, I'll be happy. And the realisation of, oh, let's just be in the journey and explore what's here. And being okay in the juiciness of what's here for me now, and you get that satisfaction of creating and being in the creative satisfaction of moving towards whatever you're moving towards, and that juicy so that you get the satisfaction leading up to the thing that you want, and then the thing that you want just makes all of that satisfaction last even longer, because then you can just be in the satisfaction going, yes, I'm just whole and satisfied and oozing all of the time, versus that thin wanting state that never quite gets nourished. And for me it became, oh, I'm aware of that concept. I get it. And then when I remembered, I was in the juiciness of the now. But then I would flick back to working towards. Oh, I'd remember the juiciness. Oh, yes. Remind myself to be nourished by the juiciness of now. I'm happy with where I am today, working towards and da. But then I would habitually go back to wanting. Oh yes, remember the juiciness of the now moment. And it became very much a thread of going back into habits and back on my trajectory of very unnourishingly going towards goals and thinking that I wanted things and then remembering juicy, juicy, juicy. And it became that for a little bit, and it was a bit of a trajectory. But then you remember, you keep reminding yourself that little bit more, and the juiciness starts to become the new state, so that you do get longer bits of juicy piles. And then you maybe do that for a little bit and you go, oh, don't do that. I prefer this juicy state of being. I'll be in my juice. And from what we experience of time-wise, it becomes more in the juice and less about the meaningless. But it is a constant check-in and reminder. And that's okay too. Flitting from one to the other, because hypothetically, let's say I stayed in this juice and I never peaked out to that thin line again and I was always in the juice, would there hypothetically become a time where then the juice just becomes a little bit less juicy because it's the norm and there is no comparison to the thin, so that the juicy becomes less full over time because I'm always in the juice and I don't have the comparison between the flatline feeling. I'm not there yet because I haven't lived, 30 years in the juice, if you see what I mean. But potentially, if you did, because let's say, so I spent 30 years of my life doing the thin thing, now I've found the juice, but if I spent 30 years in the juice, would the juice then become the flat? Ooh. So it's just another layer to appreciate, again, the journey, because we're not always in that juice. Sometimes we do forget, go back to habits, and you're like, ah! But the trick is to go, oh, actually, thank you for that comparison. Thank you for letting me experience the flip side, because it does make the juicy even more juicy. If I did have that juice all the time, perhaps the flavour would start to go, if you see what I mean. So again, another reason to celebrate ourselves if we feel like we flip back into old patterns, or if we feel like, oh, we're having a bad day, or, I've gone back into habits and I'm not doing this very effectively. Just go, oh, actually, thank you, because my juice will now be even more juicy. And I wanted to share that thought with anybody, because our saboteurs can get the best of us sometimes, and we think we bog ourselves down or beat ourselves up, but there is always an effective perspective on all of it, and to really be nourished by every single experience. We've got such a habit to label things bad, wrong, rather than saying that's ineffective, but actually it is effective because it has shown me the polar opposite, and I'm able to have a fuller experience because of the ineffectiveness. And that is profound. Oh, my love.